Hi, morning Team Setia. As you know, we're now in the Leadership Month in October, and I hope that you've been enjoying some of the webinars and the sharings that we've been sharing for the past 1 week or so. So today we're very privileged to have one of the, I would say, very colourful CHRO, and we'll hear more from him, Mr. Chen Fong Tuan, and fondly known as FT. So we're going to call him FT throughout the session. As you can see, FT is quite a different kind of profile, not your atypical CHRO. He is currently doing transformation in Maybank. I would say you were in Maybank and then you went out for sabbatical and then you came back again. So we'll drill into that later on. Today's topic is about cultivating leaders for tomorrow and owning your own agile career path. You know, we've been talking about agility for a while, and Dr. Chung has also spoken about it many times, because we know that today we're living in a market where it's super agile. We talked about VUCA in the first session when I spoke, and we know that with VUCA coming in, you need to have an agile workforce. And how do we prepare ourselves? Because change and agility is not something that's simple for everyone, but it is necessary. It is no more something nice for organizations to have, but it's something that we just have to move on. It becomes almost, I would say, naturally a needed traits or needed culture, I would say, right? So, Fong Tuan, let me just FT. Let me just ask you, you seem to have a very colourful background, because I know that you've been an engineer and then you moved on to HR. Also within HR, you've been in very different industries plus different roles, right? Perhaps maybe you want to share with us, like, how did you land in engineering and what made you change into HR?
Okay. Firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's a privilege. It's my first time in Setia's HQ. It's beautiful.
Very nice.
Very nice. So, okay, very quickly, just a quick snapshot of my career journey. How I became an engineer was, obviously, I studied to be an engineer. Studied engineering in the UK. Well, to be very honest with you, it was not a choice. It's a choice, but it's not a choice that I want to be an engineer. That is my ambition, to be one. Because I was a scholar with Tenaga Nasional Berhad. To get a scholarship, you do whatever is necessary, and being a technology company, electricity utility company, well, it's natural to choose engineering so that I have the best chance to get the scholarship. So I did. That's why I was an engineer.
But was it really something that you had wanted to do? You know, all of us when we were young, we don't really know what we want to do, or we do things that we think our parents will be happy with us.
That's right.
So you never quite, I mean, like you said, you just wanted to do it to get a scholarship, right?
Yeah.
But was it something that you wanted to do? What did you want to do actually? What did you want to be at the age of 18? I'm
in an age group that, you know, parents normally only choose 4 things, and they only believe 4 things that denotes that you're successful. Either you're a lawyer, engineer, or a doctor, or an accountant. My generation, not now, right? And it wasn't my choice. If I have a choice, I would become a lawyer. You know me for many years.
I think you'd be a good lawyer.
I probably will be a pretty assertive one. But, you know, circumstances is such. So I was an engineer. I came back. I worked for TNB for 7 years because I was under bond for 7 years. But within that 7 years, I had opportunity to do different things, and one of them was HR. To be very honest with you, I thought HR at that time, that's probably about 20 years ago.
Cold storage, is it?
It's something that you don't aspire to be in, because if you're an engineer in an engineering firm, you are the front line. You are the line of business. HR, back office, and so on. So it wasn't. And I knew HR at that time to be hire, fire, and pay. That's all you do. And managing payroll and managing leaves.
Well, those days were personnel.
Right? It's called HR then, but that's what they do, personnel technically. So yeah, I wasn't that keen to be in there. But I think the pivot that was my first journey into HR. or my first taste of HR. Then my really first real HR work that's a bit more cool was I moved to OCBC.
Oh, I didn't know you worked in OCBC.
Yes, I did.
As much as I know him very well, I didn't know that he worked in OCBC.
Yeah. So I went to OCBC. Telemanagement was very, very new, 2004 at that time. That's a long time ago, right? It's close to 20 years. So talent was really new. It came into being in 1997, I think. McKinsey coined it. So it was 7 years, and talent management in Malaysia was fledgling. So it was cool, right? Doing stuff that we're still doing today, unfortunately, 9box and stuff. So I decided to stay because, to be very honest with you, again, I don't know whether you may edit this out, but as a pragmatic person as I am, if you are in marketing or finance, lots of talent. HR, not so many. So if you are really good at it, you probably will move pretty fast. So I thought, pragmatically, staying in HR is not such a bad thing because you probably will be successful faster.
I was very smart,
and less competition and less talent to fight for very limited positions. So it started off as a very pragmatic decision, but I stayed on since then. I changed my mind. I think HR now, it's so different. HR now is at the forefront. People want to go into HR.
And why is that?
I think more and more boards, CEOs, are thinking what I was thinking before. I'm sure you think the same thing. I've been to many industries, as you mentioned, right? So I've been to technology, I've been to FMCG, I've been to banking, I've been to
telco?
Real estate, I've not been to telco, I've been to technology company. Regardless of what businesses we are in, we are all in the same business. We are in the business of people. What differentiates between one company with another company, regardless of what businesses you are in, is always the people. And I think that differentiation is what makes a company either good or great or beyond great. So it gives me opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people every day, like how Nadiah is doing in Setia as well, everywhere she goes. She's been here for 7 years. 7 years. We're all surprised that she's been here for 7 years, but I think Setia is lucky to have her.
She's being very kind to me today.
I haven't met someone who is more passionate than Nadiah when it comes to delivering and pushing the people mandate. And all of us believe so. And that's why we do what we do. Because I think Nadiah is also not from HR. We are both what I call accidental
HR. And interesting you brought the idea of accidental HR. Even in my team, I tend to hire people from non-HR. I remember I had one lady who graduated in HR, and I'm like, who on earth does a degree in HR? Because during our time, no one really. I think HR degree was just coming up, right? Because we need different disciplines. So I had engineers, I had marketeers, and I know Afiq did HR. He must be like smiling there, like, how come my boss saying that? But he did HR, But I think in the more recent years, the HR degree has been buffed up, and including all the other stuff that we'll be talking later on.
That's right.
But question I have for you: do you think that having a different discipline and then you move to HR has an advantage? The reason why I asked you this, because internally in Setia we've been talking about job rotations, and I know people get very scared when they talk about job rotation, because like, why are you taking me out of my comfort zone? And it's very natural because people want to perform, and when you move out to something that you haven't done, the threat, I would say, of not performing can be quite daunting. So I like to hear from you, maybe Team Setia to hear, it's actually advantage. I mean, personally, I think it's advantageous. I did international relations. I tend to look at macro things, and maybe I'm not so detailed, but that's how I was disciplined and trained in my degree. For you, engineering, do you think there's a huge advantage moving on to HR?
I think there are a few parts. Normally when you get moderated by Nadiah, you got to listen very carefully, because within that there's three layered things within it, right? So let me try to distill a few things. One, do I believe that multidisciplines bring advantage? Absolutely. I think diversity is not just in the matter of like gender or ethnic, but also in terms of background, thinking, mindset, and so on. HR being HR, it's a very textured profession, because we deal with so many different people. Even in Setia, I was privileged enough to be in another real estate company. It's you can check out my LinkedIn and see which company that is.
He was in the competitor
It's a
company.
competitor.
He was in Masing.
In the competitor, yeah. And the business is pretty layered as well. So you think that real estate probably would be just, construction or project management, but you have marketing too. You have marketing, you have sales. Those are important, right? But you have something pretty interesting that I probably would not know that much. It's called business development. You call it business development. You call it land acquisition. You call it government relations, and so on and so forth. HR, unfortunately, need to be adept in all of this, because we do a few things. We do development. You understand the business, you can't develop people. If you don't know the context and the strategy, you can't do acquisition really well, and so on and so forth. As an engineer, that's your second question, is do I see a big advantage? I don't necessarily see it as advantage, but I see it as a value add. HR being HR, the HR I knew previously, people would call it fluff. We talk about engagement, we talk about motivation and satisfaction. Probably the only area in HR that you probably call it a bit more concrete, it's rewards.
Data analytics.
Data analytics, yeah, rewards and data analytics, right? But the rest are the learning development, succession, it's all pretty subjective.
Sexy stuff.
Yeah.
And people think that we don't do other things but
Exactly.
organize events and
yeah, but we don't, right? As an engineer, it helps me because I am naturally more quantitative. I would like to see everything driven down to a specific quantitative number. But that may also be a disadvantage, because then I commoditize individuals. Like, you are either just a personnel number or PF number or whatever number that you call it, staff number, or you are just an FTE and so on. But that gives a balance with the natural HR who are known to be a bit more empathetic and so on. I'm a lot more clinical in a way. We are very different, right? I know Nadiah for a while now. She's certainly more empathetic than me. Even when answering questions in conferences and we are together, I'm a lot more direct, candid.
you're a lot more provocative.
And yeah.
No, which I think is good. And I really do think what you say is true. For me, for example, I'm international relations. I was supposed to be in the foreign office. My dream was to be an ambassador, and where you have to do a lot of influencing, you have to do a lot of articulation. That's what I enjoy most. But I get very nervous when it comes to numbers. When I was in secondary school, when I had maths classes, I used to be an athlete. I used to curi and lari into the padang and do my sports because I hate maths. But when I think about it, anyone today, I would always advise them, look, I know your boss, Datuk Nora, she comes from an accounting background. If I had to turn it around again, I would say go and do the accounting, because numbers are really important. So I get very nervous when it comes to board meetings. Like, oh my God, I'm not so numeric. But for someone like Fong Tuan, FT, it comes very naturally. So that's why I've been saying to Team Setia, we naturally have engineers and all. And I know some of them really make even better salesperson, because I've been to sales gallery, because they can speak the technical part. They're not just selling. Next question I want to ask you is...
Hold on, I think you wanted me to answer another one. You got three, right?
Yeah.
Which is, should we be worried about job rotation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Should
we be worried about job rotation? I think job rotation is not only is necessary, it is imperative. That people needs to go around and do different things. Because understanding the business as a whole is important. Now, the worry that many people have is if you move from what you are really good at to something that you're probably less comfortable in, Will it affect my performance and so on? Now, with a proper system, with the proper mechanics in place, that should be taken care of through proper development, ensuring people have a good runway that they can do certain things and support it. It is key. I think now we are moving away from the world of specialist to a world of generalist. Specialist is used to be in the old world. VUCA, as Nadiah mentioned earlier, is where generalist, the breadth is a lot more important, because life and businesses is not as simple as verticals. This is what I do. Because what you do has changed to incorporate other areas. Now, but you only know this, then you would lose in terms of competitive advantage. You will lose in your edge. However, if you know many things, therefore you can contextualize and synthesize some of this stuff, you're able to come up with better solutions.
Also for the organization, it's good, right?
Exactly.
Because otherwise you have that sort of silo, micro thinking.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but FT, it's interesting. He talks about job rotation. He talks about how he moved from engineering to HR, and obviously you can see he's very different from my style because of our different background, and that's how we all influence in our profile. But the other dimension is also he's been in very, very different industry, just like me. But the industries that he has been, I guess, has added on many different perspectives. Would you like to share on? I'm sure where we are in, I don't know about others, but I think for most of us, it's not by accident. I think we kind of lead and create our own path. And that's why in our PX leadership program, I keep pushing on IDP, individual development plan, and how I say that you have to own your own career path. So tell us about how you kind of craft your career path by accident or not by accident.
Well, I went to TNB because that was by accident. I was honored,
no choice.
honored and privileged to receive the scholarship. But right after that, all my others movements, I wouldn't say curated, but a lot more managed and planned. Opportunities don't come all the time, right? It's just that you got to be ready for it. I think our career journey, although we went to different organizations, but pretty similar. I was in GLC. I think this is your first GLC. I've been to 3, returning to Maybank now. I was in TNB, I was in Maybank, and then I'm returning to Maybank, so twice, 2 GLCs. I'm also in a PLC, 2 PLCs, public listed company, technically is owner-sponsored organization, 2. I was in multinationals. One is in BAT, another one is with Coca-Cola.
So I was his super senior in BAT.
In BAT, so
he came many years after me.
We didn't know each other then.
Yeah.
And I think probably 2 dimensions here, because I went to different type of organizations: GLC, PLC, multinationals. I haven't been to startup. I think I'll be a bit overaged to go to startup now, but yeah, we don't know, right?
Oh, but he's a lot more younger than me. a lot more younger.
It's age is just a number. But like Nadiah, I've been to different industries as well. So different types of organizations and different industries. I think what keeps me excited is learning about the business, learning about the difference in expectations of customers, etc., etc. It keeps me excited. I get bored easily. So if you looked up my CV, you probably see I don't stay that long.
So if you think I moved a lot more, he moves a lot more than I do.
But I did 2 companies very long, TNB 7 years because I was bonded.
That was bonded.
And Maybank first stint, I was there for 7 years as well, so that was long.
So what kept you long there?
Because job rotation, I get to do different things. Even within HR, I get to do different things. Notwithstanding that, I also went out of HR doing strategy. I was out doing transformation prior to that. But within HR, I've done everything in HR. Every single specialization: rewards, performance, talent, OD, learning.
And in that rotation, what was your personal insight? Did you actually say, oh yeah, I like this, oh yeah, you know, I mean, that's what I've been telling everyone, because everyone's so scared, but I said, look, it's a journey and you actually discover yourself more, right? Do you want to talk about it? Yeah.
I think we find enjoyment by looking at things in a positive way. I don't enjoy every single part of HR or every single part of the business. Let's take HR for because it's CHRO series, right? So I'll just take HR. I don't enjoy talent acquisition.
Oh, that's it with me. I don't enjoy it. And I said, that's it, thank you very much.
Yeah, so I don't enjoy talent acquisition, but I was head of talent acquisition for Maybank at that time. And we take in 3,500 per year. That's big volume. And I didn't really like it because it's monotonous for me. I like talent. I continue to like talent because it's sexy. It started out sexy, but talent management now becomes just another function. Now, the sexy ones is like analytics, sustainable people engagement, stuff like that, right? The new
mergers,
the new in
acquisition,
the new in things. Yeah. Another one that I don't like very much is IR, industrial relations. I don't like it so much. Interestingly, I also don't prefer rewards. Although I am very numeric, I don't like rewards because I have to go to board every month. I have to go to NRC every month. Every time there's a benefits that need to be reviewed, you need to go in. So I didn't enjoy it very much. So I enjoy things that it's fast, it's less structured, less bureaucratic. But when I was doing it, you learn how to enjoy it. You learn that there's a responsibility to do it. And you learn about how to look at how to improve, what opportunities there are to do it better, do it differently. And because that's what my personality is, I like to tinker with things and improve. So you try to make it okay, you don't like the subject very much, but you still need to be successful in it. Therefore, find joy in it. So that's, I think it's a formula. And when you become a HR director, then suddenly you realize, those stuff that you rotated in that you didn't enjoy very much, you got to do it now, and you got to do it well, and you need to know it really quite deeply. And that's when you are thankful that you had opportunities to move into different areas. Even when, at the beginning, when you're given that job, you would think, I don't really enjoy this. And I always tell my people, or anyone who would care to listen, is always volunteer for jobs that you think you really hate. Because, you go
through nightmare first lah.
Because that is one area that you probably would not learn because you would choose not to learn it. You volunteer for it. There are two reasons for it. One, learning. Secondly is because nobody likes it. Nobody wants to volunteer for it. When you volunteer for it, if it's successful, you'll be a superstar. If you fail, it's okay. Why? Because nobody wants it anyway. So you'll You'll be appreciated because you put up your hand. And if you put your heart and soul into it, everything can be successful. When it's successful, there you go. You solve a problem that has not been solved for years, and you are a superstar there, and then you move on.
So, basically what you're talking about is a growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a growth mindset, you look at things in a very positive way, and come what may, you want to make sure that, and I don't think anybody wants to fail. That's what I said, I mean, it's scary, but I don't think you want to fail yourself. Right. But if you really do fail, then, I mean, there's a lot of help network. And then that brings me to my next question. I guess we are where we are because there are other people around us who actually help us to grow. So in your journey, FT, who would you say, you don't have to name, but I mean, like, do you think mentoring, having mentor is important, having a support system, having colleagues, or like how we've been sort of having this HR leaders community. So do you think that's helpful? Because I've been telling everyone, look, never underestimate the power of networking. Never underestimate the power of someone inspiring you, because we all have our down days.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying this, if you're happy every day, there's something wrong somewhere.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right. Absolutely, having a support system is key. as I mentioned earlier, right, at the beginning, that it's scary, but we are all here to help each other. Nobody wants to see somebody else fail, and you need to help yourself. If you ask me, of course, I have professional mentors, I have personal mentors as well. Mentors are key, particularly as a leader. At the very top, you would probably resonate with this. All leaders, CEOs, and not only CEOs, any leader, the higher you go up, the lonelier it becomes. Because you don't want to feel vulnerable, you want to look vulnerable, so you kind of think, okay, I know it all, or at least I need to portray that I know it all, but we don't. We don't have all the answers. We have our down days, probably more down days than up, to be honest. Particularly when you're in HR, you have to deal with, nobody comes to HR saying, good job, HR.
It's like when I get a call, I get very worried because nobody calls me for good news. When they call you, there's something wrong somewhere.
For sure. And you need to help them. And it becomes like in HR is an aunt agony or uncle agony. You have some agonizing things. You come to HR to get help. And we are supposed to be professional. We're supposed to counsel you, mentor you, give you solutions. But we need solutions too. And I think there are a few things. I can't name names. I think I worked with Dr. Nora for a long time. I think she was a boss before. Then we became mentor-mentee kind of a relationship.
When you went out?
Where I went out. And when I come back, relationship is a bit different now, right? Because obviously we are at a different juncture of our career. Continue to be a mentor-mentee kind of a relationship. Because what I do is I bounce ideas. What she does is she reaps value from providing steers, and you go and get it done. If you need any feedback, then you get it from me. Less of a boss relationship, but more mentor-mentee. I have personal mentors outside as well. My dad was a source of inspiration. He has passed away now for the last 6 years. But whatever he told me, it's still very close to my heart. I remember one thing, but imagine he's a typical baby boomer, right?
And what was he doing?
He was a teacher.
Oh, he was not TNB.
No. He was a teacher. A primary school teacher, all the way, English teacher and math teacher. But his belief then was this: a rolling stone doesn't gather moss. Technically, he's asking, don't change jobs so quickly. If you contextualize what he said, is if you're moving without any traction, then you're not gathering any moss. But if you're moving and that ball is not just a smooth ball, but it is with the right, levers and gears and grooves, you will gather moss, and those moss will be always fresh because you're moving, right? So that's how I contextualize it. And another one that he told me is this, right? If you don't like something, that's why I talked about, volunteer for something you don't like to do. My mom is a homemaker, so she cooks for us every day. And if I don't like a dish, if I don't eat it, I'll just get reprimanded pretty heavily from my dad. He told me this: if you like it, eat more. If you don't like it, you still got to eat it because your mom cooked it for you.
That's really precious.
So, to me is, you still got to do it. You just got to find positive in it. I don't like bitter gourd, but now I learn how to,
All of us never liked bitter gourd when we were young.
So now I begin to know I like it because it is healthy. It's good. So it's a culmination of inspiration and learnings that I have from different people. And finally, network. Having a network of people who is going through, or colleagues and friends who are going through probably the same thing, you can learn so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And Nadiah is a good colleague outside. I've known her probably a lot closer in the last 3-4 years. We were acquaintances to start off, and then we became friends, and now we became more than friends because we are involved in different areas professionally. And to have someone like him and a few others, like her and a few others, is a comfort, because you know that if you need anything, it's just a call away. If you need to say something because to gain comfort from our challenges, because I know all of us are going through the same thing. We can actually bounce.
It's a lonely job.
It's a lonely job. So we bounce from each other's agony sometimes, and then we encourage each other. It is absolutely, absolutely key to have that network.
So, you know, you talk about network and we have the support system, but I guess as an individual, all of us are unique in our own personality. I like traveling and I like photography. I take many photos, and I think because it just keeps me away from, you know, being a normal person, but looking at the beauty of the world. How do you de-stress yourself? You know, I know you're a biker, but
Yeah.
I only knew about it recently, but you know, we all tell us about your how do you distress and in what
Okay.
what drives you on that speed on the highway, you know?
Well, I've got 3 things that I do. Biking is something I took up maybe last 5 years. So yes, I do own super bikes, 2 of them.
Is that single seater or double seater?
Double seater.
Most men I see, they only take single seater.
Double seater, but hardly anyone rides on the pillion because I go reasonably fast. So I own a BMW S1000R, which is a naked bike. I've got another little bike, which is a Yamaha R1. Both of them, one has a max speed of 250 kilometers an hour, another one has a max speed of 299. Fastest speed I've been on was 270. It's pretty fast, but don't ride fast if you are not defensive, right? And do not ride alone because it's dangerous. So you need to ride with a team so that we can look out for each other. Again, you know, support is important. So that's one. Earlier in my life, I used to dance for Malaysia.
Yes, I forgot.
Yeah,
He's
I used to dance for Malaysia.
Representing Malaysia.
Yeah, to SEA Games, Asian Indoor Games, and multiple different, you know, competitions and you know, dancing competitions everywhere. In standard ballroom, 5 dancers, and in Latin American, 5 dancers. So I do 10. That is on top of me working. So I've got to train, and I've got to, you know, practice, and then go for competitions, and then work. So I don't know whether you call that a de-stress, but it's a hobby. Now it's a hobby. I do it once in a while.
Do you still do it?
Once in a while, but you know, dinners and balls, or if I get invited to judge in competitions sometimes.
And you found your other half from there as well, right?
Yeah, in a way.
Can I?
In a way.
Yeah.
And the third one is I dive. I dive. I'm a master diver. I'm licensed to do wreck diving as well as night diving. But interestingly, many years ago, I was in Pulau Layang-Layang, and there was a very strong undercurrent, and the undercurrent swept me away from my dive site, 3 nautical miles away.
Oh, that's far.
From the dive site. When I surfaced, it was just deep blue sea everywhere. There is not a single soul to be seen. You only see horizon 360 degrees. So your life just flashes. Every single second seems like an hour, seems like a lifetime. But yeah, you know, I'm here, still here, because thank God I have a GPS. Someone came an hour later, so that 1 hour is the longest 1 hour. That's when you question life decision, and you ask yourself, did I regret anything that I've done, and so on and so forth. So that's why I am extremely grateful for every second that I have at the moment, because I could have easily not been rescued, and it's over. Do I still dive? Not so much anymore, not so much, but I still do it when I have friends who said let's go, but I don't do that anymore. I think no longer it's a de-stress, it's more like a stress now. But I used to use it as a de-stress. I used to dance for de-stress, but I still write every week. So yeah.
So this is almost like, you know, when you do something you enjoy and something bad happens, you kind of learn, right? I mean, it's just like for me, I drive very fast, and I had well, not major, it was an accident just after Penchala. You know, I was driving like 130, 140 through the tunnel because 10 o'clock, but it was raining. long story short, I skidded BMW turnaround. Anyone who has BMW, you know you never do brake, and I lost control and I thought I was going to die.
Oh no.
Right? But I was lucky because there were no oncoming cars, but when turning, when it ended up, it was the right direction. So I was lucky. I guess God wanted me to still, do whatever to watch the scenes that I've done before, probably. But what happened, like you, I tend to be a little bit more careful.
That's right.
I don't drive as fast, but sometimes you get the kick of it. Now, relating to that, I guess in life, in our career, we've gone through so many ups and downs, successes, failures, mistakes, whatever. I guess as a closing point, throughout all that you've experienced, what would be the golden nugget that you would say to Team Setia, kind of wrapping up the, I guess, 40 minutes or 30 minutes of conversation that we had today?
I don't know whether it's called golden nugget. I don't think I'm wise enough to give any advice. But just to encapsulate what Nadiah said earlier in her, just the previous statement, I have failed almost as much as I've succeeded. When you see a seemingly successful person, profile is reasonably high in the market, everybody knows, it seems like a hunky-dory life and hunky-dory career. Often it is masked with a lot of pain, a lot of sweat, blood, sweat and tears, because I don't believe that, that adage of you work smart, not work hard. We need to work smart and hard. Work hard in improving ourselves. Work smart in delivering the solutions. Both are important. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. You just need to build enough skill, enough support, enough what I call this buffer for failure over your career. And to me, I think failure is the only way for us to improve. Can you imagine if someone has never failed in their life? They will never be able to appreciate the success. Because failure is probably... Now, failure, people always think is a bad word. Failure is not a bad word. It is okay to fail. It's just that as leaders, we need to be able to provide that safety net. We need to provide that kind of support for when our people fail. They feel supported, therefore they dare to do things. They dare to push the envelope. I see that one of your new, I think it's mission. Vision, it's mission, is innovation. Apart from your places, right? It's places. And one of the E, interestingly, is innovative, is I, now become an E because you need to put places there.
We have to stylize
to make it places. Innovation. And innovation without failure, it won't happen. Because that's where the key is. We shouldn't fear failure. We shouldn't like failure, but we shouldn't fear it. Therefore, we can learn, we can improve, we can innovate, so that we can be in the heart of community. You can be a leader in sustainable communities, sustainable homes. We build homes, not houses, right? I think that is also the principle and the mission and the vision of Setia as a group. And the final one, again, it's not wisdom, but it's my personal belief, is I think in everything we do, we need to be, number one, super passionate about it. Even when it is not exactly what we are trained for, great at. But if you are passionate about it, you will learn. That learning will be fast, and you will come out with things that may surprise us and may surprise ourselves. So passion is the fuel that drives us to do something beyond what we are accustomed to and beyond the ordinary.
Well, that was really, I think, valuable. So we've come to the end of the session. I wish we can go on, but we all have our own jobs to do and work and so on. But I really want to thank FT for taking time to come all the way to Setia Alam to do this. And very, very, very valuable insights that you've shared with Team Setia. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.